It's Pokemon's 30th anniversary today. I know. It's Unk now, just like you. And of course, it wouldn't be a Pokemon Day if they weren't celebrating it correctly. And they have. They've given us a Pokemon Presents. And of course, it was full of things that don't necessarily interest most of the people who play Pokemon. And we'll have a quick recap of what was mentioned before we get to the juicy bit. And of course, Pokemon Go needs to be mentioned in one of these things. They are returning some of the phased out monsters to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of Pokemon Go. I still can't believe Pokemon Go is 10 years old, because I remember not long after it came out, I was at a comic book shop. I know, I'm a nerd. And I remember they closed the shop because a Squirtle had spawned outside and nobody, unless you'd picked it as your starter, had one at that time. It was one of the biggest and most community-spirited moments I have ever witnessed. I think most people deleted the game not long after that. I didn't, it's still on my phone. I have a problem. Then, of course, there's going to be new missions added tonight for Pokemon Sleep, and Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness is coming out next month, but only on Switch 2 through Nintendo Switch Online. So if you've got a Switch 1 and you really wanted to play that, I've got bad news for you, I'm sorry. It maybe looks like they're going to start phasing out releasing things to Switch 1. I'm not sure the exact reason why. It doesn't really make sense to me there, but welcome to Nintendo. They make choices. Anyway, we also got a better look at Pokopia, which is really shaping up to be Pokemon Crossing, a surprise to nobody involved. And they showed off some new characters, as well as the new prop hunt mode for those interested in playing hide and seek by teleporting into various different items. A mode straight out of Call of Duty, quite literally. And oddly, I will say this, I think prop hunt is going to make more sense within Pokopia. I mean, I don't know, most people would have played Animal Crossing, and in Animal Crossing, you definitely play hide and seek, and this is a very Animal Crossing coded game, so it makes a lot of sense there. And in fact, I don't know why this mode hasn't been implemented in Animal Crossing itself, but that's for some other development team to agree to. Overall, with every single showcase, and somehow, particularly when it comes to Pokemon showcases, we all know that the most interesting item is probably going to get shown off as the one last thing, and of course this time we weren't disappointed. We have a new Pokemon game coming out next year, subtitled Winds and Waves, and supposedly it's going to be kicking off the new generation. And while we've got a few small looks at the game, mainly including Pokemon from old games, which is great because we get to see a massive pile of Pokemon that we know are now going to return to this entry, we also got to see that it's going to be an open world format, so that is obviously here to stay, based on what we've seen in the trailer, after obviously Scarlet and Violet didn't necessarily get off to the best start in that field. But look, I'm not going to be holding my breath. I'm sorry. Anytime soon when it comes to a Pokemon game and how it's going to look and how it's going to run at launch. That being said, the graphics in this case seem to be a massive step up from what we saw in Scarlet and Violet. And it looked like there were higher quality assets being shown. And yes, I know I'm trying my best to not get too excited about that, because if it turns out not to be the case, and this is just from some internal alpha, which it said in the trailer very clearly, this is not the final product. They potentially could downscale that and take it back when they get closer to shipping, but I'm hoping that that is going to stay. And some of this might come down to the fact there's been a slightly longer development time. Now, the game isn't launching until 2027, no exact date set, so it could be in March, like Legends Arceus did. I think they launched in March. Or it could be somewhere in the holiday period at the end of 2027, which means they've had quite a lot of time to work on this game. And it would be over 5 years since the last mainline entry, and it would then be 2 years since ZA would have launched. And Pokemon still claim that ZA and the Legend series aren't mainline entries, but, you know, we'll let them believe that. I will say this, we didn't get massive loads of any real substance, but they did give us a nice small treat. The new starter Pokemon. Now, we've got 3 different choices. We've got Brout, who looks to be a grass owl. We've got Pombon, that's such a fun name, Pombon, who looks to be a fire dog. And then we've got Gekwa, who is a water type gecko. And of course, I know the concept of which one is the best is going to be a hot topic of debate that you can do down in the comments below. And personally, I think Pombon looks so cute, and with a name like Pombon, of course they would be. But I am teetering towards Gekwa. And of course, this could all come down to the evolutions and how those look in the end. But for now, based on the starters alone, there's going to be a lot of cute Pokemon plushies coming out. They're going to make thousands. And honestly, I think if I had to base it on which plushie is going to sell the best, I think it might be Gekwa, you know? I think it might be Gekwa. I'm putting some money out there. I think it's definitely going to be Gekwa, but I think it could be Pombon. I don't know. I'm teetering on those two. I'm sorry, Brout. I'm just sorry. So, what do you guys think about the new Pokemon announcement? Are you like me? Are you a bit skeptical about how it's going to run? If it's going to be smoother than the Scarlet and Violet at launch? And obviously, which starter are you going to pick? And of course, please remember to like and subscribe and check me out over on Twitch at twitch.tv/the_entitled gamer for some live streams, because I'm live there Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. And sometimes I'm also live here on YouTube, depending on how I feel. But in the meantime, I'm going to go and probably boot up my Switch and play some Pokemon again. I don't know. I'm getting the urge to play more Pokemon. Bye!